Back from Angel. This is episode 11 of season 5. We are reaching the halfway point of this final season, which is nuts. Very excited to see what's going to go down next. Last episode, they kind of focused a bit on the continuing battle, I think, with Angel and Spike and the prophecy, all of that jazz. Spike being like, I'm going to go away. Actually, no, I'm not. And yeah, little shenanigans with Angel being bedridden and having all these weird hallucination-y kind of things, but it through her own stupid actions, really. Eve's kind of really dropped herself in, I think, in terms of everyone suspecting that there's more to her than meets the eye. She's got her own little plans going on, which is true. So that's fun. A bit of development there, but I'm excited to see where the story will continue onwards. So let's get into the next one. Yeah, Charlotte's fine. Whoa. Oh yeah, she won't get through that. She just broke down that other door. Well, you tried.
Instead of a jury of your peers. Just what the founding fathers had in mind.
Well, sometimes you gotta work the system before it works you.
That our new motto?
I'm thinking we made the right choice.
Maybe we made a mistake coming here.
She tried to kill you. Okay, first, the parasite she allegedly sicked on you wasn't meant to be fatal.
No, just send you into a
Oh, that's alright then.
It's about the evidence.
Yeah, he's got lawyer brain now.
I think I liked you better when you just wanted to hit me.
Rational thought.
Yeah.
It's an acquired taste.
It's character development, baby. But I do think gun makes sense.
I've seen a few of these possession cases. They have to be handled very carefully. Real finesse job.
Yeah, I remember I've got you under my skin.
Oh, well, fancy this.
Yeah.
Hero of the people now.
Oh, then go and annoy them.
When I'm done.
Oh, I like that he's carrying on with this.
You can hang out for the show and tell me nothing. I got a demon needs repossessing.
I do like that because they're lawyers, they kind of have to take the slower, methodical, evidence-based approach, and Spike can just be like, well, bye. Oh. Uh-oh.
I don't want to have to hurt you.
I don't think you'll get the chance.
You understand what she's saying?
Yeah, I do.
Is it a fellow tortured soul? I like that Spike's got his own little spin-off show inside of Angel. That sounded wrong, but you know what I mean.
Demon to demon.
She was yelling about being chosen. She's not a demon, Wes. She's a vampire slayer.
Oh. So she's someone who got, awoken when Willow did the spell? And she just wasn't in Sunnydale?
Oh, you could do that.
That's interesting.
Wes contacted Rupert Giles. He sent in his top guy to retrieve her.
Angel. We were just about to...
Spike?
Hey, shit! Hey, buddy.
I was holding on to false hope, but
Your hair's very long now.
here again of the white resurrected from the pit of the ball.
For God's sake. So is he like
We were just about to bring
a watcher now?
Gather round and attend to a most unusual tale.
This is absolutely hilarious. I love this.
In every generation, one is chosen.
Yes, attractive, slender woman. There are many potentials, as we experts
I mean,
call them.
Hundreds, maybe
Accurate.
thousands.
Mr. Giles and a few key Sunnydale alum have been tracking down the recently chosen.
oh my god.
Guiding them, training them.
The dreams of slayers are usually just that, dreams, but Dana's mental instability may be making them seem more real.
My
Oh,
hypothesis
damn.
exactly, Price.
I like that they're kind of exploring the idea some potentials just didn't ask to be made slayers.
I thought she was a slayer I took out back in the Boxer Rebellion.
You mean the slayer you murdered?
Well, I didn't have a soul back then, did I?
Right, because having one now is making such a difference.
Not like we haven't done was back in the day.
Yeah, and it's something I'm still paying for.
And you should let it go, mate. It's starting to make you look old.
Well, it's nice that Spike's letting go of his stuff, I guess.
Let's get Andrew in on this, see if he knows anything.
I don't think he's here.
What? Where'd he go?
Oh my god, is he hanging out with his best friend, Spike?
That's where the action is, bro, on the main streets.
Oh, I'm so glad we're seeing these two together again. They were hilarious on Buffy.
82% more manly than the last time we...
Oh. God's sake. Don't need to be manly, you just need to be useful.
Where did he take her? Dark. Floor is cold. The air is thick with dust. A basement.
I mean, I got that.
Where pain lives.
Cool. She went through loads of shit before she's even a Slayer, didn't she?
Let's try the blue one this time.
Heard from Buffy lately?
Yeah, of course. She's in Rome. Dawn's in school there. Italian school.
Oh,
Oh, wrong, man.
She needed a break from California.
that's fair.
Do you want me to tell her? Because I'm really good with those delicate personal...
No. Don't tell her, I'll take care of it.
Oh, hello. Oh. That went well.
Stab the heart, cut off the head. Only way to be sure.
That's Slayer talk, isn't it?
Keep cutting to
It
see
is.
dust. I have to get home to my son. To my Robin.
Robin?
Oh, shit.
Hey, you're talking about Nikki.
Yeah, you know that
Slayer
one.
I offed back in...
William the Bloody.
No, no, no. That's not going to lead anywhere good. Focus on what's real.
Well, you've already had 2 fights.
Don't be scared.
Now, we're going to...
3 fights. Oh. Maybe it isn't necessarily like Spike did all that to her when she was little. Is it just that maybe she's just getting all these different memories crossed from Slayers?
We were attacked. I think she got him. I think she got Spike.
I know she got Spike.
Can't touch me anymore.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, God.
Time to dig up Ronald. Get some spare hands.
Can't touch me ever again.
Oh my god.
Just you. Someone else.
Yeah, I feel like you might remember if it was him.
You've got me confused with another man.
It would have been a hell of a coincidence.
His name is Walter Tyndall. He tried to rob a liquor store 5 years ago and the police shot him. He's dead, Dana.
Hold still. Slayer.
Yeah, but not these 2 folks, okay? Hush, little Slayer, don't say a word. That is brutal.
He's got his hands.
That is handy.
Think we're just gonna let you take her back to your evil stronghold? I got 12 Vampire Slayers behind me and not one of them has ever dated you.
I'll just clear this with Buffy.
Where do you think my orders came from?
Hmm.
Nobody in our camp trusts you anymore. Nobody.
Oh.
You work for Wolfram and Hart.
Oh.
Don't fool yourself. We're not on the same side.
Oh, that's sad.
Thank you for your help.
Last thought I killed a family. And I'm supposed to, what? Complain? Because hers wasn't one of the hundreds of families I did kill. Never did look back at the victims. was only in it for the evil. That was everything to me. Andrew double-crossed us? That's a good move. She's one of us now. She's a monster. She's an innocent victim. So were we. Once upon a time.
It's true.
Once upon a time.
Very long time ago. Damn. Okay, I love this episode. I thought it was fantastic. Some really interesting ideas, and I like that they kind of explored the aftermath of Buffy season 7 in a way that Buffy can't because it finished. At least in a live action form. I don't know if the season 8 motion comics and stuff kind of explore, maybe them tracking down more potentials that have become Slayers and stuff like that. But I found this a really interesting idea that, there are still aftershocks of what happened in Buffy in Angel, even though Angel is the only one airing at this point, because Buffy's done. There's still that kind of connection there. Also, it still feels like this world is shared and lived in with those two different groups of characters for the most part, and then we get to the end when they're like, we don't trust you anymore, we're not talking to you anymore, which I guess they did because Buffy's finished. But yeah, I really enjoyed what they did with like the idea of Dana. I mean, it's really sad and messed up, but a cool concept, I think, to explore some other Slayers that were activated that we didn't see, and how that would quite rightly fuck a lot of them up, to suddenly be awakened like that, because we did talk about that at the end of Buffy. I think the idea of like the consent that can't be given to all those potentials across the world, if there's only a select few that were in Sunnydale who knew what the plan was and were like willing to go through that, but then all across the world, as cool as the idea I think it is to unlock all the Slayers in the world, I think that's really clever and badass. It does open up the idea that there were going to be quite a few people, I would assume, that wouldn't have asked for that and don't want it, and it scares them, maybe ruined their lives. So I like that they kind of explored that here. It's a shame they couldn't explore it, at least in live action, with the Buffy characters who actually did cause this. But I do like that it bled into Angel, and we did get one character who was in Buffy showing up, so that was interesting and quite the surprise as well to see Andrew with his new hairdo. Damn, he let that grow out. So yeah, where do we really begin? Well, I guess just Dana as a concept. It seems weird like to say as a character, because she was such an amalgamation of loads of different people. We don't really know Dana, and I think that's the tragedy of it. The only time we really saw her as her was in the brief little flashbacks of when she was a little girl and that guy did all that awful shit to her. And the fact that now that she has memories of all previous Slayers and stuff, it kind of all bleeds in. She kind of confused that guy with Spike, and then that led to a lot of stuff and allowed Spike to kind of examine himself, I guess, and stuff that he did. And I think for all his bravado that we saw, oh, Angel, you need to forgive yourself. It makes you look old and stuff. And he kind of has this presentation of like, well, I've forgiven myself. I'm absolutely fine. I'm over all the bad shit I did. You have those moments where, like when Dana mentioned Robin, and suddenly all that guilt's probably going to come back on him. Even though he also kind of found some sort of peace with Robin, I think, in Buffy, and he didn't entirely take responsibility for that at the time because he was over it even in Buffy, because he was like a soulless being, etc. Don't come for me, Spike stands, I understand. Even though he kind of seems to have found some sort of peace with it anyway, there was that moment where he was like, oh, Robin, oh, you're talking about so-and-so. It's still very much on his mind. And then that final scene with him and Angel, which I loved. I thought it was a fantastic kind of final way of ending off the episode. I loved that whole scene. You can see that kind of stuff still does haunt them now. I think the longer that Spike has a soul, he really understands Angel and what he's kind of been going through ever since he got his soul back. He's understanding that burden, I think, more and more. as time passes. Obviously, he dealt with a lot of shit with that in Buffy season 7, and he continues to kind of deal with that now. And in exactly the same way, Angel, I think he always could understand Spike. I feel like because he was talking about with he remembers what it feels like to be evil, and he remembers that feeling of the things Angelus did and how Angelus felt about all of that. So I do find that very interesting, that he's probably in denial about how much he and Spike do have in common, just because they don't get on really. And I think the fact that they both ended up falling for Buffy, and Buffy was with both of them, just kind of put that divide between them all the more. But I think they're kind of slowly making that way towards more of an understanding with each other, which I do really like, as like an arc for them in this season. But he still understands how Spike felt about things and how nonchalant he was about his victims and stuff, when, you know, he didn't have a soul, because he can still remember that himself. Probably even more so because, you know, he was, as recently as last season, he was Angelus again for a bit. So I like that growing understanding between the two of them. And what Spike was saying, which I think was very true, the fact that, you know, Dana's just a victim of all of this now. But once upon a time, they were both victims as well, blameless victims, and that's just spiraled and escalated. So, you know, can that forgive some of the violence that Dana's enacted, because she is just a current victim? But, you know, I don't know if they ever will be able to fix her or not. I imagine we never find out. But in years to come, she could kind of be where Angel and Spike are now, dealing with the stuff that they did, even though, you know, for one reason or another, it may not have been their fault, or, you know, it was under the influence of something else. It was because they didn't have a soul. I mean, Dana did have a soul when she's done all this stuff, but she's also has a lot of childhood trauma that's kind of been made all the worse by her nightmares kind of becoming real when she got all these visions and the Slayer powers and stuff, and all these other memories kind of mixing and messing her up. So I think that's really interesting how they've talked about, you know, the idea of monsters that started out as victims, which is often the way, I think, you know, is like what they say about bullies. Most of the time, people who are bullies were bullied themselves. It's kind of just that endless, awful cycle, really. So it's kind of the similar way, like victims become monsters, and then monsters make more victims who then become monsters themselves. And I really liked them exploring that idea. I thought that was really interesting, and tying that into, you know, the after effects of becoming a Slayer, which was kind of shown to be this really cool, empowering thing in Buffy. And then they explore, like, well, it's not going to be the ideal case for everyone. You know, people aren't going to ask for this. Some people would have been fucked up before they became, you know, Slayers with all these powers that they probably didn't understand, because for one reason or another it's taken, you know, Buffy and Andrew's crew and everyone, you know, 6 months or whatever it was, I think they said, since the end of Buffy, to find Dana. You know, they've been finding all these others, yeah. But sometimes you kind of wish, I wish we'd found these people a lot earlier. We might have been able to save them, because Spike said he thinks Dana's beyond saving at this point. And that's kind of the tragedy of it. So I find that a really interesting kind of concept to explore. And the idea that Angel and Spike maybe could understand Dana's situation, potentially in this respect better than Buffy or Andrew necessarily could, because of like the childhood trauma with her, the fact that she started out as a victim and then this has really mucked her up. You know, it's not just a simple case as, okay, you have Slayer powers now, we can train you, we can help you through it and stuff. You know, it's a lot more than that that's affecting her. You know, maybe Angel and Spike could be more beneficial to help her, but now Buffy, etc., don't trust Angel anymore because he's with Wolfram and Hart. They've taken that decision out of their hands. That makes me very sad, that they're just like, we don't trust you anymore. It feels like that's just happened because they're not going to really get all the Buffy people back in Angel. So they just kind of be like, well, this is why they're not going to show up at any point. Especially because it's like, well, let him tell you your side of the story. You know, I feel like Buffy would at least let Angel say his piece, but it's just miscommunication so they can have conflict, I guess. Like, Angel can just explain the situation, that we are trying to do some good here. You know, hear what Gunn was saying at the start of this episode. We are doing some good. But I don't know, they just don't want to hear him out, I guess. I think that's kind of a shame. I felt that does feel a bit forced to me after everything that they've all gone through with Angel. I Like, if it was Xander and he was the only one who didn't buy it, I kind of understand, because Xander's always had that complex about Angel, but that does feel bizarre, especially when Angel was kind of there in the end of Buffy and kind of helped out in a way. But, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. It's just the proper reason why, you know, we're not going to see Buffy turning up every 5 minutes or whatever. So I guess it makes sense in that regard, but in terms of the actual world, without the context of these are TV shows, actors and actresses are doing different things now when show's finished, it does feel a bit like, I don't know. But, you know, I can deal with it. But I did enjoy that we had a bit of the worlds bleeding together again with Andrew showing up. It was good to see him again. And he's changed, but he also hasn't. He's still a bit of a klutz. But I think there's a gaining self-confidence in there. We saw a bit of that with that last scene where he did continue to stand up to Angel, which I quite liked. Especially because I don't think he wouldn't have interacted with Angel, would he? Because I think Andrew was only in season 6 and 7. So I don't think... Yeah, because Angel didn't know who he was. So this was like the first time they were probably meeting, and he still stood his ground ultimately when it counted. Probably helps that he did have then like an army of Slayers come up behind him to back him up. But that shows some growth in him, I guess, and the fact that he's still committed to helping out and fight the fight that he's on, even if he feels that's a different side to Angel's. So I do enjoy that, and catching up with him and seeing that he's, I guess, a kind of watcher. I don't know if they're like making a council again or something. They're like rebuilding it. Feels weird that they would do that, considering how much I think Buffy in particular would hate that and hated the council. But I guess if they're making it their own way, they'd be alright with it, and like Giles and stuff. So that's an interesting concept, I guess, and maybe that is something that the Buffy comics explore. I'm not sure, but yeah, I did enjoy seeing him again, and the little bits of banter we got with him and Spike were fun, because they were a very entertaining pairing in Buffy season 7, the two of them when they teamed up. So I'm glad we got a bit more of that. And they obviously learned that Spike was alive and stuff. So it was cool to get a glimpse at where Buffy's at now, you know, and they're in Rome and stuff. Dawn's going to school there. So it just... The world of Buffy is carrying on. We just don't get to see it, at least not in live action. So I like that we kind of had that link with Andrew showing up. That was really fun. I did enjoy that a lot. It just makes me sad about the whole conflict and the fact that they seem to be on different sides now, and we're not talking to you anymore, you're lawyers now. I mean, I do get it to an extent, but it also does kind of feel quite forced. But yeah, everything with that was really interesting. The idea of victims was good. Playing the system and, you know, playing others, that seemed to be a bit of a thing, at least in the early part of the episode, but I guess throughout as well, because Andrew did kind of turn, like, double cross them nearer the end. Spike seemed impressed with that, which I thought was quite funny. He sensed that growth in Andrew as well, and I suppose he wants people to recognise his own personal growth, so of course Spike's going to recognise that in others, because treat others as you would want to be treated yourself, I guess. So I do quite like that little detail, because obviously Spike's come a long way himself. I think Angel often refuses to acknowledge that because it's Spike of all people, and you know, he doesn't want to acknowledge that Spike's made progress, when sometimes I think he's his own worst enemy and kind of stunts his own progress and forgiving himself and stuff. He's probably quite jealous that Spike, on the surface, seems to have done better than that, but I think Spike's still dealing with it quite a bit, as we saw in that final scene, more so. He's still living with it, just probably more so in the shadows, whereas Angel will openly mope and stare out the window longingly about all the stuff he's done. But yeah, I think Gunn was talking about near the start with Fred. He's like playing the system before it plays you, and that kind of ties into the whole thing, like their debate about what to do with Eve. Like, they just get rid of her? Do they keep her on? Like, getting the evidence all in place. I like that showcases Gunn's development as well. Now he's all lawyer brained and stuff. You know, he goes and plays golf. He's like, if we're going to do something about Eve, we need the evidence to back it up. We can't just get rid of her without any claims and stuff. So I think that makes a lot of sense, just in general, but also to how Gunn's characters change. So I like they still kind of explore that a bit. And yeah, the idea of playing others, we kind of had that with Andrew at the end. So that was an interesting theme throughout the episode. I don't know if that will be continue to be explored, or this is kind of like a one-off thing. probably certainly like playing the system feels like a very Wolfram and Harty-esque thing that they can continue to explore and have explored, I guess, this season thus far as well. So yeah, I liked that little bit of showcasing, like Gunn's still going through his own development and changes, and he can be the voice of reason in situations like this. Angel put it out like, oh, I miss the days when you just want to punch something. So I like that they're showcasing his growth in that sense. And yeah, everything that was really cool. And yeah, just the exploration of Angel and Spike starting out as victims, becoming monsters. Are they still monsters? Are they not? They clearly see themselves as monsters. And they can still like try and deal with the guilt of what they did prior. So I did find that quite interesting, how after all this time, I think it is quite something that Angel's still kind of dealing with all the shit he used to do, still feeling bad about it, still wanting redemption. And like literally all these years later, I still find it very compelling. I think that's quite interesting. And alongside that, they're doing the same thing with Spike. Literally putting him in Angel's shoes at the last episode where he kind of had his own pilot episode. And again here, he was going off in his own investigating stuff. Getting his wires a bit crossed, kind of coming to the wrong conclusion about what was going on with Dana. But I think that kind of shows why they maybe need each other, or at least why Spike needs Angel right now. Kind of provide him with that balance. Because Angel's kind of been in this game for a bit longer, and Spike kind of started it up because Lindsay set him on this path. And, you know, Lindsay wants shit to go down and for things to go horribly wrong, obviously. So I like that Angel and Spike still kind of feel, or whether they want to or not, they still end up kind of working together on things. Even though a lot of this season they've been on opposite sides, like fighting over the prophecy and stuff. I feel like they are building to an understanding with them, and they are going to come to a nice conclusion with it. Which I think is, especially because this is like the last time we're going to see these in live action. We're literally halfway through this last season. I like that is something that can go on, and as a conclusion, if you know they do come to that conclusion, there looks like there could be like a nice little arc for them, and where things end up, however Angel ends, maybe they could be on actually good terms. I think that'd be a really nice arc for them. I don't know if that is how it'll work out, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd like to think so, given that they do know, you know, prior to the last episode and stuff, that they were getting cancelled, so they could try and wrap it up in a decent way. But if they don't choose to do that, they don't choose to do that. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, some really interesting stuff with those two in this one. And just the continuing guilt that they feel, really. And I love the idea of that final scene between the two of them. Like Spike losing his hands. Ugh. I mean, do they need to do it? No, because we just know he's going to immediately get them back. But I think that was just, you know, a real shocking moment. So Spike can face up to, you know, what he did. I liked what he said, like, you know, can I really complain that in this instance it wasn't me who did that stuff to her, when there are hundreds and hundreds of families that I did do that kind of thing to. I thought that was a really interesting idea. And again, I think he plays off the stuff he's gone through as like, oh yeah, I'm over it, you know, I've moved on. I think that's just kind of a coping mechanism. He's actually still really struggling with that guilt, much as Angel is. And he's still kind of thinking about that. And I like that. I do like that he's like, well, my hands got cut off today, but I don't want you feeling sorry for me, because maybe I do deserve this. And Angel's like, oh, maybe I do deserve all this horrible stuff that's happening to me. And that could be a good bonding experience for them, I suppose. But yeah, I really enjoyed what they did with Angel and Spike, and I love that last scene between the two of them. That was really great. And it's one of my favourite endings of an episode I think we've had in a long time. So yeah, great stuff with that. And overall, just a really fantastic episode. I love them exploring the after effects of how Buffy ended off. I loved what they did with Angel and Spike and their kind of shared potential guilt and stuff like that. I liked seeing Andrew again, and the idea of what he's been up to and getting a glimpse of what everyone else has been up to as well in the Buffy world. I like the little bit with Gunn near the start, like showing how far he's come. The idea of playing the system and playing others, like how that could all play out and can continue to play out. And yeah, the idea of the endless cycle of victims becoming monsters and monsters making more victims, etc., etc. I quite like that idea as well. And just the concept of Dana as a character, the tragedy behind the fact that we don't really know her because of what, you know, Willow Spell did when she brought all the potentials into Slayerage. The fact that they explored people who that actually would have been a really bad thing for them. I do enjoy that quite a bit. So yeah, some great stuff in this one. Very excited to see where we go next. Next episode is the 100th episode of Angel, which is very exciting. I don't know if they do anything particular to celebrate it. I hope they do, but I don't know. Buffy did by killing Buffy. They had like a little bit, I think, at the start of the 100th episode as well. And I think they had like clips from all the episodes. I don't know if Angel's going to do anything special to celebrate it, but I guess we'll find out because I'm watching it straight after this one. But yes, I'm very, very glad that they took the chance to explore in live action, the after effects of Buffy, and they did it in such an interesting way in what they did with this. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, fantastic episode again. Excited for the 100th episode next and what they may or may not do for it. And yeah, it's going to be everything for now. So until my next reaction, thanks for watching.